In the winter of 1879, Mormon pioneers built a wagon road between established communities in southwestern Utah and the Four Corners area. They were fulfilling an assignment from their church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, to establish a settlement in the area. Their journey became an ordeal of unparalleled difficulty as they blazed a route across some of the most broken and rugged terrain in North America. Upon arrival, they named their new home Bluff City and organized a fort made of inward-facing cabins. Today, the grounds of the original fort include actual wagons and other artifacts from that perilous hole-in-the-rock journey. Included are replicas of the cabins, the old log meeting house, Ute and Navajo dwellings, the ruins of the Cuman Jones home, and the original Bluff Relief Society building. In one corner of the fort, the Bluff pioneers established a cooperative trading post. Today, sitting on the exact same spot, a replica of the old co-op houses the visitor center. Welcome to Bluff Fort.
Hi, welcome to Bluff Fort. The building that we're standing in is a replica of the original structure that was built in the late 1890s. It is now a visitor center where we tell the incredible story of these amazing pioneers who made their way down through the hole in the rock, across the Colorado River, and settled here in Bluff. These are some of those people. I think they want to talk to us.
Of Johnny cakes, man.
Abner. Psst. Abner, you're making that racket again.
What? Huh? I was just resting my eyes. Fella can get downright weary hanging around all the time.
Just takes a little sticky to tootie.
Sticky to whatty?
Haven't heard that for a long time.
Sticky to tootie. Stick to your duty till it sticks to you.
You mean stick to the truth.
Stick to your duty.
Stick to the truth.
Your memory's fading.
Is it any wonder I never get any sleep around here? Two of you yapping other... Hey, we have company.
Oh, my goodness.
That's a good sign.
Oh, well, pay no mind to our off-the-wall attempts at humor. You're here to learn a little history, I believe.
His story? What about my story?
Well, that ought to put everyone right to sleep.
I wasn't talking to you.
Well, your gums are flapping at me.
You must have been born in a mood.
You were born in a trough.
No, you two. You'll have to excuse us. We're just ordinary people.
With an amazing story to tell. Why, if these walls could talk... Come to think of it,
Ada.
I guess they can.
Yes. All right, now hold it. Wait. Not all at once. As you can see, we're all excited to tell our story.
Well, almost all of us.
Let's get started. Come along.
Yeah, it's about time. Oh.
Just for the record, I don't actually look like this photograph. In real life, I mean. It's just that they make you sit still for so long you can't even smile.
Now, come follow me. Let's go back in time. Let's follow Ada and Lizzie as young girls as they begin this incredible journey.
Sticky to Tootie is just the right way to explain what our story is about. It began in hundreds of places, much like this.
You had to leave everything that couldn't fit in a wagon box. Mama refused to leave her new dress. She hid it in the bottom of her trunk.
I had to leave my brand new doll carriage. It was so hard. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Let me tell you how it all started. In 1847, members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, often called Mormons, left behind homes, farms, and family to settle the desolate shores of the Great Salt Lake.
But before long, they began spreading out and colonizing. Does desiring to secure lands for settlement and promote peace with the Native American tribes. Mormon prophet Brigham Young envisioned many communities in the inhospitable southeastern desert of the Utah Territory.
President Young died in 1877. His vision was realized by the new leader, John Taylor, who assigned families to leave their homes and settle along the banks of the San Juan River. December 29th, 1878. A conference was held in Parowan, Utah Territory.
The following individuals and families are called to be part of a colonizing mission in the San Juan region. Brother Samuel and Sister Jody Wood. Joseph and Harriet Barton. Brother and Sister Parley Butt. Brother and Sister Kuman and Mary Jones. Brother and Sister Perkins, Benjamin and Marianne Perkins. Brother James and Sister Elizabeth Decker. Noah Barnes. Hanson Bayless, Samuel Cox.
Hearing our names read from the pulpit was the first time most of us had heard anything about it.
Daniel, I missed you at conference yesterday.
Well, heard they might be calling a few folks on a mission, so figured I'd best stay home.
No need to worry. They read your name anyway, along with ours.
Of course, no one was compelled to accept such a call, but they were urged to prayerfully consider the matter.
7 years of hard work, and now we're just going to walk away from our farm and from our home.
I figure the good Lord sees the end from the beginning. We have been called. We will go.
I don't know if I have the strength.
You do.
Not everyone who went was called. Some volunteered to go.
You offered to do what? What were you thinking?
It is a voice of the Lord to me to go. I am going. With the help of the Almighty, and hopefully you.
Sarah Williams had come from Wales to stay with her sister. She was not a Mormon, but she decided to go anyway.
Sarah, you've been such a help with the girls. This is too much to ask.
I didn't come all the way from Wales to help my sister to just watch her go off somewhere else. If you're going, I'm going too.
There were many reasons for going, but for most it came down to devotion and faith. Faith in God and His prophet. With an unknown journey ahead, there was a great deal of preparation to be done.
It was a busy time for us all.
Lizzie, look at us. We were so young.
And innocent.
Somewhere there's a mountain. It must be far away. 'Cause I stand on my tiptoes and I can't see a thing. And it's a long, long way to walk. But one day I'll climb to the top.
With preparations underway, a route had to be found. Proposed routes were too long and too dangerous.
Finally, word came from the town of Escalante that Bishop A.P. Scow and Reuben Collette had found a narrow crevice in the Colorado Plateau that led down to the river. Perhaps this might offer a shortcut to the distant San Juan.
And it's a long, long way to walk. But one day I'll climb to the top.
With the hopeful report from Escalante, we began our journey at the end of October, 1879. We planned to celebrate Christmas at our new settlement. Remember Walter and Elizabeth? Oh, that trip was their honeymoon.
Must have been a whole lot more honeymoon than they expected. What was supposed to take 6 weeks ended up taking 6 months.
And that's where I'll find Jesus. And when I see him smile, I'll put my arms around him. It will be worth every mile. Somewhere there's a mountain.
What causes ordinary people to attempt extraordinary things?
Somewhere there's a mountain.
We're about to find out. It was beautiful country. But being so far away from the comforts of home became a challenge.
I went along to help care for my sister's children. Imagine my surprise when I was told that this was my team and wagon to drive. An experience I never before had.
It was over 100 long miles from Parowan to Escalante.
After leaving Escalante, we camped every 10 miles.
Spirits were high, and everyone pitched in.
We never lost sight of our goal. Every day, the challenge of what had been laid before us became more clear.
Looking back, it seemed as if God had been slowly preparing us for what was yet to come.
After almost a month of continuous travel, we finally arrived at 40 Mile Camp.
And we met with other groups from all across southern Utah.
We stayed here while construction began on a road down to the Colorado River. At the same time, a group of scouts was sent to see if they could find a trail on the far side.
There was plenty of work, but we still found time to celebrate.
Many otherwise tiresome hours were passed pleasantly while we sang and danced by the light of the moon, or campfire in the sand, or on a slick rock after we had camped for the night.
Little did we know, our troubles had only just begun.
Before we left, we were told that the country had been explored and that the road was feasible. But now, we found that someone had been mistaken.
Losing my precious ring nearly broke my heart.
We searched high and low
and never found it. The scouting party had returned with devastating news.
Getting down to the river is just the beginning. On the other side, it's the worst terrain I've ever seen. There's no road and no water. There's just no way through.
We can't stay here. We're running out of forage.
As rugged as it is, we can't turn back. We can never forget that we were called by a prophet of God. We will find a way.
I say we leave the decision to President Smith and the Lord.
The fate of nearly 260 men, women, and children depended on that decision.
The next morning, President Smith called a meeting at Dance Hall Rock.
Brothers and sisters, the Lord did not call us on this journey only to see us fail. Placing our faith in Him who is mighty to save, we will go on. All in favor?
We must go on, whether we can or not. And if we have plenty of sticky tutti, we cannot fail.
All present voted in favor. Sticky Tutti became a rallying cry.
There was something more than human power or wisdom associated with it. The only answer is that a kind of providence came to our assistance in answer to our humble, fervent prayers.
The reality of going down that road scared me to death. It looked straight down.
The cliffs were 500 feet high, and there was barely enough room for even a single wagon.
I don't think I ever saw men go to work with more will to do something than that crowd did. The way we did make dirt and rock fly was a caution.
We all had plenty of work to do at camp. Wagons were sent back to purchase provisions from the saints in Escalante.
For 6 weeks, the men camped at the hole-in-the-rock worksite, only returning on Sundays to be with their families. Soon it was Christmas. We all wondered if Santa would find us out in the middle of nowhere.
We hung our stockings on the wagon, and they were miraculously filled.
Not with toys and goodies, but with parched corn, Dutch oven cookies, and one very special gift.
You were so sad. Giving you my ring was the least I could do.
It was the best present I ever received. And then the day came that it was time to leave. The road down to the river was finally done.
They put the brake on and locked the rear wheels and had a big rope fastened to the wagon. And about 10 men holding back on it. They went down like they would smash everything. I'll never forget that day. Wagon after wagon went down, with men and horses straining behind to keep the wagons upright and in control.
I still marvel that we all made it live.
But our journey was far from over.
It is certainly the worst country I ever saw.
Nothing in the world but rocks and holes, hills and hollows.
Cold weather set in early. I had to carry my baby with his little feet in the front of my dress against my body to keep them from freezing.
Cottonwood Canyon. Clay Hills. The Cedars. The Twist. All forever etched in our memories by cold, hunger, and fatigue.
But nothing would try our hearts and souls like the last obstacle. We had been on the trail for over 5 months.
Our animals were spent, and we were exhausted.
And we were now trapped between the San Juan River and Combe Ridge. Over 1,000 feet of sheer rock wall. The only way around was to build another impossibly steep road.
San Juan Hill.
At times, 7 spare horses had to be used, so that when some of the horses were on their knees fighting to get up to find a foothold, the still erect horses could plunge upward against the sharp grade. On the worst slopes, the men were forced to beat their jaded animals into giving all they had. After several pulls, rests, and pulls, many of the horses were so exhausted, they took to spasms and near convulsions.
I never saw the poor animals pull and paw as they have done today.
By the time most of the outfits were across, the worst stretches could easily be identified by the matted hair and dried blood of the struggling teams. My father was a strong man, but whenever the full pathos of San Juan Hill was recalled, the memory was too much for him, and he wept.
And it's a long, long way to walk, but one day I'll climb to the top.
On April 6th, 1880, we finally reached our destination.
We named our new home Bluff City.
When this bedraggled company of tired pilgrims straggled into the present site of Bluff, many of the teams, which consisted of horses of all sizes and descriptions, oxen, mules, and burros, were unable to proceed further for at least some time.
Our faith was surely tested. But we put our trust in the Lord. All of our lives were spared.
What causes ordinary people to attempt extraordinary things?
And what keeps them going when everything goes wrong?
And if we have plenty of sticky tutti, we cannot fail.
In all the annals of the West, there is no better example of the indomitable pioneer spirit than that of the Hole in the Rock expedition. None ever demonstrated more courage, faith, and devotion to a cause. They proved that virtually nothing was impossible for a zealous band of pioneers.
I always get just a little bit weepy when I watch that, because that was my great-grandparents who were part of that journey. I want to tell you just a little bit about a couple of them. One was Platt Lyman. Platt Lyman is my great-great-grandfather. He was 31 years old at the time of this call to go. He lived near Escalante in Polk City. And his wife was expecting a child. 3 months before it was time for them to leave on this journey, they lost the third of their 4th children that had passed away before they reached the age of 2. But he went because he was asked to go, and they made him the first assistant to the man who was called to lead the expedition. This man's name was Silas Smith. By the time they reached, well, before they got to the top of where they made the trail down to the Colorado, Silas decided that they needed more funding and more provisions, and he decided that he needed to go back to Salt Lake and petition the legislature, and he left Platt in charge of the expedition. I think about 31. I mean, I was really not headed at 31, and I just can't imagine a 31-year-old being left in charge of that. On top of that, he'd been called to go with the second group that went through. The first group came back and said, yeah, we think that we can make it. And he went back and he came back and he said, with horses, yes. With wagons, no. But when they voted and decided to go ahead and go, he supported it wholeheartedly and said he would do whatever he could to make sure it happened. So they made the journey. Another one of my ancestors was named Ben Perkins. Ben was from Wales. By the age of 5, Ben had started working in the coal mines in Wales. But he learned some interesting skills. He learned how to work with blasting powder. And that skill came in really handy when they started building this road down this cliff, this trail they called the Hole in the Rock Trail. And with his expertise in blasting and road building, they dubbed him, or this trail, Uncle Ben's Dugway. And when you go and look down that, they called it the chute, the first part of that trail. You look down there and you think, oh my goodness. No wonder Platt said wagons, no. But they built it up with the rocks, they blasted it down to make it wide enough for one wagon. And then they with picks and shovels and blasting powder dug way down across the cliff from the end of the chute of the bottom down to the river. They used cedar poles and extended it so it would be wide enough. They braced those poles against the rocks, and with that made it dugway wide enough to get a wagon through. And you look at it and it's just an amazing feat of engineering. When you think about it, it's just, you go down there and you look at it and you just think, how, but they did. My great-grandmother's name was Sarah Williams, and she's one that it talked about who came to help her sister. She was the one that drove that wagon for the first time and drove it in that kind of country in those kind of circumstances. I'm a one-y when my husband has me drive the wagon. It's not my favorite thing. I won't do it unless he's right there to grab the lines because it's not my thing. But I think of her, not only did she do that, but when she got there, she raised 10 children. One of those children was my grandmother. And when my grandmother was born, she was a 2-pound twin. And both of those little twins survived. They survived because Grandma and her oldest daughter took turns holding those babies so they could breathe. Those tiny little babies both survived. And I just think, what a remarkable mother. What a remarkable woman. And I'm glad that they did that, because I had the best little grandma in the world. She was about 4'10", weighed maybe 90 pounds. But she had 5 children, and one of those children was my dad. A little teeny story about my dad when he was a little boy. When he was 4 years old, Grandma asked him what he wanted for his birthday. He said, "Dad, I think I need a little wash tub so I can help Mama with the wash." So he got a little wash tub and a scrubboard for his 4th birthday. It's the kind of mama that inspired that kind of feelings in her children, because she had a mother that inspired that in her. I really can't imagine what these people went through. The man with the little beard that volunteered to go, his name was Jens Nilsson. He'd already come across with the handcar pioneers, and both of his feet were frozen to the point where it was hard for him to even walk. He walked only with a cane, but he made that journey. And for many, many years was the leader of the church congregation in Bluff, almost until the time of his death. Just a remarkable man. And other of my relatives, the Baylesses, just people that you just think are just the salt of the earth. When we started this the other day, they gave us a little handout and they talked about history, and one of the things they said on that little paper was, history teaches us important things. One of them is that we can gain strength and inspiration from the people who went before. That is absolutely true for me with my pioneer ancestors. They bring me strength and inspiration, and I'm really, really grateful for them. I love their example. I love the example of all the good people of faith everywhere. And I totally agree with the words of the Apostle Paul of Philippians. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. They did. We can. And I'm glad they did. Anybody have any questions you want to ask or anything?
How many people live in Blanding right now?
I think the population has been as high as 3,000 during the uranium boom. I think it's down around 2,400 now, but that's not true. It's probably up closer to 28, because there's a lot of people that have moved in from the reservation. There's a lot of Navajo population in Blanding now. And they built a hospital there now. So there are a lot of jobs through the medical profession that have brought people in. That's where I grew up.
Still a small town. Okay.
It's still a small town.
Beautiful town.
And Bluff's just tiny.
Yeah.
Bluff is at one time we had a thriving population, but now it's just in the few hundreds. But it's still a special little place to go. One of my places that's the most favorite in Bluff is to go up on Cemetery Hill. And that's where my ancestors are buried. It's just up above the city. If I could, I would sing to you, but a few years ago, thyroid cancer robbed me of that ability. There's some beautiful songs about that place. But it's a great place.
Thank you.